Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, wherever you're joining from. This is Susan Treadgold, and I'd like to welcome you to the High Performing Woman Talk Show, where I highlight amazing women entrepreneurs doing amazing things in the world and creating an amazing impact with their confidence and energy. And with me today, um, well, before that, I want to talk about the topic. And the topic today is investing in the disruptive and innovative founders of tomorrow. So, what if the next unicorn isn't in Silicon Valley, but an overlooked community led by someone who's never had a seat at the table until now? Disruption starts with a daring idea and a founder who refuses to follow the rules. So, today I'd like to talk about what it takes to spot, fund, and fuel the trailblazers building a better future. And I have an amazing woman on the show today who is an expert in the area. I met Cheryl King, and I'm just about to bring her on at an executive networking group meeting here in California a few months ago. And I was so impressed with her, and I just knew I had to get her on my show. So I'd like to welcome Cheryl.
Hi, everyone. And
Um,
Susan, thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, my pleasure. So, Cheryl is, she's a dynamic leader really at the crossroads of finance, innovation, social impact. She's co founder of a venture capital firm focused on backing underrepresented founders, including women, minorities, individuals with disabilities. And she's got a background with a Big Four CPA. She's a former controller at DreamWorks, an angel investor. And she really brings deep financial insight and operational expertise to the startup world. And she's helped countless founders grow, fundraise, and lead with purpose. So get ready for an
Mhm.
inspiring conversation about building equitable wealth, scaling diverse startups, and leading with both strategy and heart. So these are some shocking statistics I found about funding. I mean, of all the funding out there, are you telling me that women only founders get 1 to 4%? I mean, it says it varies by
Exactly.
state and year. I just pulled this up from a chat GPT, like I confess. But I mean, I'm sure, are more informed about these numbers or might have some insight or thoughts on this. And I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Sure. In the past 5 years, unfortunately, most of the numbers for have decreased in investments for minorities. With one bright spot, Latinas and Latinos, they have been receiving a little bit more of funding, but not representative of the amount of the population they represent. For women, pre-seeds have decreased. However, in the later rounds, they've received more funding, but it's still not at the same trail as male and non-minority investors. So we definitely have to do better, find out, reach out, and expose these founders to capital.
I mean, do you think they're just starting fewer businesses that need funding, or is it just it's just not, they're just not getting the representation?
I believe it's the latter, not getting the representation. When we go out to the community, when we go to networking events, when we see when we go to HBCU colleges and minority organizations, there's great founders out there and numerous, just as many. It's just that they don't have the exposure to the capital avenues that a lot of other founders do of non-color or male founders.
Interesting. Okay, so what criteria are you using to identify and prioritize these investments in underrepresented founders? Is it just, I mean, there's obviously some sort of criteria
Yes.
beyond their minority status, right?
Correct, correct. We look at their expertise, we look at the market share, we look at scalability, and all the other rates that that investors look at, return on individual returns, and also the potential to scale not just in the next 5 years, but even beyond.
Okay, so scaling is a big thing. And like what sort of in the space that you're looking at, is there a particular sector or industry where you're seeing more traction with underrepresented founders?
I'm definitely seeing more traction in AI and combining AI with medical innovation. I was just at a summit in Canada, and there was a lot of great innovators, and a lot of the focus was within AI, definitely. So I'm seeing a lot of traction in that, and combining also in the medical field, financial field, SaaS, like all industries, AI is just integrated into all of these founders' ideas, and they're using coming up with smart ideas to revolutionize the access to minorities.
That's really interesting. I mean, because AI is really, that's like a buzzword for everybody right now. Almost like if you're
Yeah.
raising money and you can't
Yes.
say that you've got AI integrated in some way, it makes it much harder.
Yeah.
But do you think people
Well,
are giving lip service to that, or what's an example that you've seen where the AI that is being used has made the investment really attractive? Is there a certain
um,
way that you're looking at it?
Yes, that's a great question. One of the companies that we invested in she is a doctor. She's a minority and she has a eye degenerative disability, and she's using AI for early detection in eye diseases, neurological diseases, and it's continuing to expand. And she has the backing of a lot of institutions and a lot of grants. So she's really using her expertise as well as AI to have quick turnaround in diagnostics, as well as able to go out to the community where there aren't these top tier hospitals, where you're not located to, say, a Cedar Sinai or top university in your area.
That's interesting. And the fact that she has that eye disability, I'm sure like even enhances her purpose.
Exactly, exactly, and she's amazing.
Yeah.
And so that and she her traction is great. Her customer base, we also look at customer base, um, people interested in her, and she has a great product, and it's also cost effective.
Oh, well, I mean, that ticks that ticks a lot of boxes. That,
Yes.
so finding these people, I mean, how are you building partnerships to find and support these types of founders with community organizations, accelerators, or networks? I mean, where do other people that want to have a broader representation of the types of investments that are making, like, what are you doing to cultivate at this, and what can you do to recommend other people to find more representative founders?
Sure, that's another great question. We are embedded in the community for example, there's a network called Black Women in VC that they bring founders and investors together. Two of my other co-founders are part of the HBCU graduates, and so there's a big community of founders, investors, supporters. So we embed ourselves in that community. We go
May
to
for our international audience, could you explain what HBCU is?
Sure, historically Black colleges and universities.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I interrupted. Keep
Sorry
going.
about that.
So sometimes acronyms, like they become so common to us, and it's starting
Exactly.
to sound like the bank HSBC, and it's, do you know what
Yeah,
I mean? So, um, so,
exactly.
um, you popped off the screen a couple of times. Their signal might be a bit, but we'll carry on. I can still hear you.
Yeah. Okay, great. And so we do a lot of that community outreach, and we attend a lot of pitches as well. So if there's a pitch, a founder pitch, we try to for minorities. We're located. The other two partners are located in the East Coast and the South, and I'm in the West Coast. So we try to cover as many as we can to find those founders that meet our thesis.
And how many people would you say that you meet with until you find an investment that it's a numbers game. I think so many founders, I've
Yes.
heard of VCs that they like look at 1,000 people and like take five.
Right, and it's similar to us, so I would say 1,000 to 2,000, and maybe we take, like, 5 to 10, but they're out there, but we wanna make sure that, the founders that we invest in are the top founders that, will have those returns because, we want everyone to know that it's not just investing in minorities, but you can also receive profit from and doing good as well, and giving minorities that and founders that don't have that access, say in San Francisco and Silicon Valley, but a great idea, the access to show their capabilities.
Excellent. And so I think I've got some logos that I saw from some of your
Yeah,
investments. There's Nestment and there is June Brain. I mean, share with our
and that's
listeners,
the one I spoke of earlier.
huh?
And Brain is the investment that I spoke of earlier
So
with
talk,
I
about the woman with the eye disease and that was working on a
yes,
diagnostic.
correct, correct.
So tell me a little bit more about, maybe Nestment or any of the other type, just to give people, our listeners, an idea of the types of investments that you are looking at.
Sure. So Nestment is a real estate investment platform, and it brings together multiple buyers to purchase real estate so that they can also participate in real estate investment and pull together resources. And they guide investors through the process, offer assistance, and really having that generational wealth as well as growth. And there are small LLCs, LLPs that are formed, and then they can invest in single duplexes or even bigger properties. And they also educate as well.
So is that meant for the smaller investor that doesn't have the money to get on the property ladder and that wants to invest in property, or is this just for any investor?
It's more for the smaller that wants to invest, and but there's partnerships found that are formed for a lot of different investments. So, but typically it's minority investors wanting to get into the real estate market and maybe don't have the guidance or the know-how or the capital. So this is a way that they can also invest in real
And
estate.
learn and share the risk, right?
Exactly, exactly, and have
Yeah,
someone to guide them there.
yeah. Before they actually make their own, like, move on to making their own individual real estate investments, for instance.
Exactly.
So I have another question. What metrics or outcomes will you use to measure the success? I mean, you said we're not just investing in minorities; it's also
Exactly.
financial performance and inclusive impact. So, what are the metrics and outcomes that you're looking at as you build your portfolio?
We look at markups, we look at rate of return, we look at scalability, we look at performance, and we look at run rates. We all the metrics that most investors use, and we look at their mix of debt to equity and how they're scaling, forecast models. We dive deep. We look at customer base. We interview customers, and most of us have some I of course have an accounting background, CPA, and the others have financial backgrounds, and we look at comparatives if there are any out there, how they're tracking.
Right. So do you only invest in companies that already have revenues, or do you also do pre-revenue?
We also do pre-seed, and for pre-seed, or excuse me, pre-revenue, we also look at their potential. We look at their forecasts, and we look at what's behind the forecast, and is it really a true viable forecast? Like we'll look at their product. We'll look at experts in the industry, if there's any, and we continue just to scale, see how they are scalable, and if how quick they'll go to market. And because some people have good ideas, but they may be slow to market, and that's not the best investment either, because somebody will
Right.
beat them to the market.
So, I mean, you said you're like seeing like 1,000 to 2,000 companies. What are some of the mistakes that you're seeing early founders make? Like when they come to you, like what would maybe be your top three tips?
I would say that the top three tips is to make sure you have a core foundation. If you're good at being an innovator, be an innovator, but have someone that knows the financial side of it. Have someone that can help you navigate the legal patents for your brand. And so I think some founders, which is typical, tend to wear multiple hats, but they also need to continue to build out their core group, because they won't be able to scale.
Right. I think I see like on LinkedIn more and more sort of fractional roles for people that, start up in early companies that can't afford a full person. But I just saw a fractional legal counsel, a fractional,
Right.
yeah. Are there any resources that you can push? I mean, point these early founders I mean, AI is obviously a tool. Like I just saw on
Right.
LinkedIn this morning a company that launched and scaled with 2 employees and 10 agentic AI
Oh,
employees,
wow. Wow.
which is like incredible.
Yeah.
But aside from AI, um, where are some of the,
The
are there any?
resources.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a great question too. There are resources like we partner with Build in Tulsa, which are incubators, and VC Include. There's a lot of programs out there that help founders at the early stage, and give them critical feedback, resources. There's a lot of law firms out there that will do pro bono work for, say, the first like 50 hours that they can utilize for quick questions as they're scaling to save money and watch the bottom line. There's a lot of students. I've seen a lot of founders get creative of using universities, grad students, to help them scale. And so I've just seen a mixture, but I think the really big, robust ones are like incubators, expanding that network. There's a lot of VC organizations like Black Women in VC that also have resources that they can point founders to.
I'm thinking that more and more there's value in community. I mean, people are overwhelmed with WhatsApps, texts, LinkedIn
Yes,
messages, emails. I mean, and I think there's real value in connecting with and building an in-person community, like having that
definitely.
presence, these real conversations. And so trying to find maybe one of those incubators that you talk about or other groups and support in your area. Because that's what I'm
Yeah,
seeing that people are really having success with is when they're really having that, you know, true connection, true community.
exactly. And also too, I think that spurs on new ideas. And there's experiences that people have already crossed that bridge and they can give advice. And if you're not having those one-on-one conversations, you might miss out on, say, expertise or similar crossroads that other founders have had, or even what investors have seen. So I think it is good to have that FaceTime as well. Tech Week is a good one in Los Angeles. There's a
When is
lot
that?
of it's this year there was, I believe it's in October, but I can follow up with you and confirm the date. But there's a lot of, especially after COVID, there's a lot of founder events that are out there. So I think it's good for that interaction and not just AI.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I have a question so I'm getting a question where to get in touch with you, but I have here, a contact page. So is this where people would want to like they link in with you? And is that the best way to connect with you?
Yes, and either through Radix or LinkedIn. Um, I would definitely. We have a Radix Innovation Capital LinkedIn page as well, and I could also provide you with that link after our talk. And but these are the best, like the immediate ways to directly connect with me.
And we've got your email there too. So founders that are looking to get invested, or indeed LPs or angels that would like to support what you're doing and join your group, is both of those.
Yes, all three. All three is good. On the founder side, LPs, angel investors, all three can find us, and we'll definitely respond and reply.
And in terms of the founders, what do you normally like? What is your preferred first outreach?
Usually, we start with an email and their deck, and then we'll collectively look at the deck. And then, if the next step would be to look at the data room, and to see, and also to talk with the founder, of course. And then we continue to engage the brand, the scalability, and sometimes we'll talk to customers too within the company, or their revenue streams, their source of revenue streams.
Excellent. All right. Well, this has been really interesting. I love what you're doing. Anything that I didn't ask that I should have, or any other further thoughts that you would like to share?
I think you covered the majority of what we do. One thing that we're agnostic, so we're not industry specific, but we do focus on AI, SaaS, medical, entertainment. So we we're open, but we do trend to focus on
You're more
certain
expertise in
industries.
those areas, right?
Yes,
Um,
and
and I had one other question. It's slipping my mind now, but oh yeah. Do you have a typical check size, and do you lead or do you co-invest?
Typically, we co-invest. The typical check size is around 150,000, and we'll do that in two segments of investments. And we're usually co-investing, and then but we definitely are not opposed to taking the lead and on some of the investments as well.
That's amazing. So, for those of you who didn't catch the contact date details here, take a quick screenshot. And I'd like to thank everybody for joining. Please, the High Performing Woman episodes live on YouTube. So go ahead and like it there, and you will be notified when I have the next episode coming up. And I want to thank you, Cheryl, so much for what you're
Thank you
doing,
so much, Susan.
sharing your wisdom, and best of luck in what you do.
I appreciate you, and I appreciate your audience, and we're making strides.
Wonderful. All right. Take care. Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks, you too. Bye-bye.